Hello and welcome to Clueless in a Caravan from Morn Hill again. But not any old Morn Hill. This is the new, improved Morn Hill. It is the end of October. It's October half term. And it's just us and the two furry kids. Dizzy's down here and Monty's over there. The other furry kid is at home in bed probably. Because for some reason he didn't want to spend any time with his loving parents.
In a small box in the middle of a field.
Yeah. So we were here within 2 weeks of it reopening. Because...
Within 2 days of it reopening?
No, it reopened in mid-August.
Oh, it opened early, didn't it? That's right.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't supposed to open until September, was it?
They brought it forward to mid-August.
Right. Yeah.
But I'd already booked beginning of September.
1st September, yeah.
When it was announced they would open at the beginning of September. So we were here then. We chose to be up on the grass. Right, okay, let's start again. Morn Hill is a two-part site. There's a top level and a bottom level. Now, when we've been here in the past, and it's near Winchester, when we've been here in the past, we've tended to opt for the lower level because we prefer grass. And at that point, the lower level, the whole site was grass. The whole of the two sites was grass. My understanding is that the Caravan Club leases this top part from the council, but owns the bottom part. That might not be entirely correct, but that's what I've been told. And so they're less inclined to invest a lot of money up here. But then, so what they've done is basically the bottom part of the site is now entirely hard standing of one sort or another, to which we shall come in the fullness of time. So at the top here, what's been done basically is some minor changes to the pitches.
The road layout's the same, isn't it? The pitch layout's slightly different. Yeah. And the bathroom block has moved into the middle.
Well, it's a new bathroom block.
Yeah.
So they've put a new facilities, quite a small facilities block, up the top here, and they've gone to the 2-peg system. Yeah. Which is all right.
And also the check-in building used to be on the top half, and it's now on the bottom half.
Which is, we've witnessed that causing confusion for existing members, people who are used to coming here. Yeah. You now come in at the bottom. So yeah, you can see that a lot of money's been spent. They did a good job getting it done in time. And overall, we love it. Morn Hill is our local site. We can be here within 15 minutes of picking the caravan up from the storage facility. So it really mattered to us that it was good. And apart from some minor issues to do with policy more than anything, we've really enjoyed it. And we've really enjoyed being here, hence the fact that we're back at the end of October.
Yeah, just to be clear, we haven't been here since the 1st of September until the end of October. But we did go back to school from here at the beginning of term, and we've ended the term here for half term.
Yeah, we had
lovely.
We had about four days, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I worked from the caravan, and you went off to work at school.
Yeah. And my parents were here as well for a couple of nights, which was nice.
Yeah, it was a good few days. You know, this is a site that we love. So let's talk about the changes.
Top half first?
If you like. The thing is, right, I'm glad they've done it. I'm glad they've done it, and they've done a great job.
But
the two wardens who are up here, two Scottish ladies, are the best wardens that we've ever experienced.
Yeah, they're lovely.
And you know, the facilities are lovely, but they are too small. Let me consult my notes.
There are not enough toilets.
There are 47 grass pitches up here and 6 tent pitches, and 2 cubicles for men.
What, toilets?
Two male, yeah.
Well, there are 4 ladies.
Listen, I was pretty. That shows how much you listen, doesn't it? Because I bored you about that.
No, I've forgotten. That's all. I did listen, but now I've forgotten.
So that is.
And how many showers in the gents?
I don't know, because I use the shower in here, but I would guess 3 showers and 3 of those idiotic privacy units for shaving. And when there would have been better to have none of those. And just have showers and toilet cubicles, because it is a bit of a bun fight in the morning.
And although it's never been a bun fight. I don't think there's anybody ever been in the toilets when I've been in there. And it was quite busy when we were here in September. There are literally half a dozen caravans up here this week. It's very quiet, but they've shut some of the toilets and the showers off in the ladies, so there are only 2 shower cubicles, and they're the 2 with the fixed attachment on the wall. Whereas the 3rd shower, which is the one I used when we were here in September, is the one where you can remove it from the wall, and it's a fantastic power shower. I was really looking forward to having a shower in it this week, but it's shut, which I imagine might be because it gets flooded easily because it's so powerful.
I know, but they've only just been built. Why put them in
is
then?
it shut? Yeah, and if you're going to shut a cubicle so that you've got less cleaning to do towards the end of the season, it's fine. But don't shut the best shower off.
The thing is,
shut the other one off.
I don't mind using the onboard facilities, but if I'm going to use them, I expect to have paid less to be. If I've paid to have facilities available, I'd like the facilities to be available. And as I said, that's a lot of pitches. That's 63 pitches, which will have probably almost all of them will have at least one man on them, and some will have kids as well. And there is one family room. I don't know.
There's a family room up here.
Yeah.
And there's an accessible bathroom as well, isn't there?
Oh, they're the same thing, aren't they?
Is it the same thing? Well, I don't know, because down on the bottom half they've got a slightly different arrangement. They've got an inclusive bathroom down there, which basically means anybody can use it who wants to use it.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And it's got a bath in it as well, which is amazing. But up here I think there's an accessible one and possibly a family one.
But then there's even more units down there and only one more toilet. But no, I don't want to get dragged into appearing to focus on negative things. They've done a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Since we've been here, obviously there was quite a lot of work went on that involved. I mean, I don't know whether they relayed the electric cables, but they certainly did something with the water.
It looks like a channel has been dug to every. You can see that one there. A channel has been dug, so I think new electrics have been put in throughout the top half. So although you might think the road layout's the same, the grass is the same, it's really uneven, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, the thing is that when we came in early September, that was at the end of that really dry season.
It was very dry.
And so it was a little bit the worse for wear because it was scarred all over. But we've come back now,
the grass
and you would barely really notice it unless you were looking hard.
The grass is looking great up here actually, and the staff have worked really hard. I know they've been literally hand picking up rubble from the building works to clear and level it.
The positive thing,
so hard.
Although we were slightly disappointed to discover that the bottom area is now entirely hard standing, the Caravan Club is now opening the bottom site all year round,
which we've not had before.
We've never had.
Great.
I mean, to be honest with you, we were absolutely shafted down before we turned up and after we were here, of which more later. But it drains really fast here. That you could probably keep this open all year, but maybe they'll revise it after a season.
We'd booked grass, hadn't we? Because we couldn't book a hard standing. We knew it was going to be wet, so we thought actually we'd probably be better
But in
off
retrospect,
hard standing, but it's been fine.
I would always rather grass if we can. It feels like you're camping then, to me at least.
But I'm not clear why we couldn't book on hard standing, because there are pitches available down there.
Yeah,
so they must have had last minute cancellations.
So let's chat about that, because they've got. I mean, this may be a new thing with Caravan Club. With newly set up Caravan Club sites, but there's quite a mix of hard standing types on the lower level. Up here it's all grass, and the only variation really is there are some that are quite small and some that are really quite big. So if you get here nice and early, or you're on a quiet time, you have a pick, you've got lots of pitches like this one that you can get on without even reversing, because you can drive straight through them.
Drive straight through, yeah.
And there are some that front onto the road, which are good for if it's a bit boggy. But other than that, they're all the same. Whereas down there, we have a grand total of 4 different types of pitch. So there are 25 of what you would expect to find on a site with hard standing. They're what
standard with awning.
Hard standing with awning.
Yeah.
And there are a further 10 slightly narrower hard standing with no awning. So that's 35. Now
although you can put a sun canopy up apparently.
The price for those is the same. They're £1 at the moment. They're £1 a night more than they are on the grass. But we also have 14 serviced pitches. Now, anyone that knows Mornhill will remember that on the bottom side there was like a little roundabout at the bottom that used to get really boggy. I mean, it was actually our favourite part of the site.
Even though we did get well, that was the motor.
I left the motor mover on, and we pulled away.
Took half the pitch with us. That's why they had to make it into a hard standing.
So that area down there, there's no longer a roundabout there, but all of the pitches down there are serviced at additional cost. And then there are also 2 premium pitches, which are extra wide serviced pitches with their own picnic bench and privacy hedge, though the privacy hedge hasn't grown yet.
No, privacy twigs.
Now, to give an idea of the variation in prices, bearing in mind, don't get me started on the fact that it is more this week than it is next week. Don't get me started on that, okay?
Okay.
So this next week it'll be £24. This week it is £31. So the grass is £31.60. This is for 2 people. The hard standing with awning is £32.60, which obviously is £1 more, and the one without awning is exactly the same price as that. You will pay the best part of a £5 to get a serviced pitch, £5 a night extra, and the best part of another £4 a night to have the premium one. So the minimum price you'll pay is £31.60 for a grass pitch. At the moment, the maximum is for the premium pitch is £41.50. We would like to believe the club knows what it's doing, but I wonder whether, when this was planned, that we were at a time when people were more likely to be prepared to pay the extra for service than they are going to be in the coming 12 months.
Yeah, the climate has changed, hasn't it, since
Given
the plans
that
were made?
what you end up with then is actually only 25 of what you would normally consider to be a hard standing pitch, on one you can put an awning on.
Yeah.
So out of all the pitches on this site, only 25% of them only 25 of them are hard standing with awning. You can push it a bit, because in the winter we probably wouldn't want an awning up anyway. So call that 35 available spaces out of the 50 odd, just over 50 that are hard standing.
So what I'm wondering is that we were all excited when we found that Mornhill was going to be open all year round, weren't we? What I'm wondering is, when it comes to it and we want to book in November or January or whenever, are we going to be able to get a hard standing pitch, because there are only 35 of them, and are there going to be serviced pitches sitting there empty and we can't get on because we're not prepared to pay the extra £5 a night because it's
I think that's exactly what will happen. But you know, what do we know? There are quite a large subset of caravanners unconcerned with the current economic climate.
Yeah.
You know, their pensions, I mean, all power to them. I have no issue with this at all. But you know, they're fine, they're comfortable. Whether there are enough of them I think that if they were planning the site out now, they might plan it differently.
We met a lady yesterday, didn't we, in a camper van with 4 dogs, and they'd only stayed one night and they were leaving because they were booked in for more than one night. I don't know how many, but they were just going somewhere else because there was nowhere to walk the dogs.
Yeah.
So they've paid the pitch fees and were moving on to pay pitch fees elsewhere.
Yeah.
So they weren't worried, were they? They're an example of people who aren't worried about how much it costs. I mean,
in December, Winchester's got a Christmas market, so I've
busy,
already seen that there's plenty of booking in December. There's not much room in Mornhill in those first, because it's probably the first 2 weekends, isn't it?
I don't know.
But normally it is. They do
did
Christmas
you look at
markets
service
then.
pitches though?
No, I didn't look
just
too
normal
hard.
pitches.
That's the situation here. It's really nicely laid out. It's actually, since we've been here, it's softened a bit down there because the leaves have fallen.
Yes, it was very crisp and neat and cream gravel.
I said that it felt to me like a gated community down there.
Yeah.
Whereas this feels like a campsite up on the grass.
But now all the leaves are falling. It's nice.
Softened it.
Yeah, it's nice.
And also there's a much wider variety of units here because it's half term, presumably.
Yeah.
You've got, you know, we're in a 2008 pageant, and we're not the oldest one here by any means.
Surrounded by Pegasus, aren't we?
Yeah.
We've got a bit of a Bailey thing going on the top half.
It's a Pegasi.
I think there's 6 caravans up here, and 5 of them are Bailey, and
Yeah.
3 of them are Pegasus.
So I mean, it's nice. So what we do is when the dogs need a walk, we just walk down to the other side, or we can, if they want a longer walk, we walk all the way around here, then down the side, and then walk all the way down there. And that is a perfectly acceptable length walk, especially for Dizzy.
Yeah, Dizzy. Yeah.
And they've got a decent dog walking area. It's in the same place as it used to be, but it's a bit wider than
They
it was.
have made it bigger. Yeah, but you can't walk through it like you used to be able to go in the top gate and then come out the bottom gate and then just carry on round. But now you have to come back to the top and then go round. But they have made it wider for
overall,
dogs to run around.
I think they've done an excellent job.
Mm-hmm.
So on this particular trip, we brought our Isabella canopy awning, because the theory being that it's nice just to have something over the door when you're going in and out.
We knew it was going to rain,
shelter
didn't we?
things. We hadn't really figured the wind into we knew about the rain.
Well, what windy doesn't even start to describe it, does it? So when we got here, it was quite windy. We'd hitched up and pitched up in the dry, so we were very grateful for that. And then it started raining. That was fine. And Kev had put the canopy up, but it started getting a bit blustery, and we were keeping an eye on it, and the canopy was bouncing a bit, despite the fact that it was very heavily pegged. The poles.
What I was actually
ropes.
doing at that point was trying to decide whether I should take it down now, or wait until it eased up, because it was hammering down as well.
Yeah, and then it suddenly was getting gusty, wasn't it? So we were putting our coats on to go out and take it down, and we knew we were going to get drenched. And it just disappeared over the top of the caravan.
Just whoosh. We were unfortunate because here you're up higher here. You're more exposed.
There's no shelter.
And we're at the most exposed part of the site. And the wind was coming. We were facing side onto the wind. But it was like a sail going.
Yeah.
It just suddenly disappeared. It was like one moment it was there, the next minute it had gone.
Completely vanished because it was flat on the roof of the caravan. The poles and the ropes.
It was lucky to take the awning rail off.
There was 2 poles that I found about 3 feet from the caravan opposite, which approached him like javelins. And I found one of the ropes, and a lady brought one of the other ropes back the next morning, didn't she?
Yeah,
it was like a little squall all of a sudden, wasn't it? The wind just got up.
And then it absolutely hammered down pretty much all
night.
And then in the morning it was nice. And so like an idiot, I put the awning back up. Not for very long, has to be said.
But at least I
made a very good job of fastening it down this time, and then of course couldn't get the pegs out.
But at least we put it away dry. My God, that took
ages. Yeah, it was dry. It blew the rain off it. Because that's our normal setup in the winter would be just a canopy awning, just to cover the entrance and exit.
It just makes it easier when you're going in and out and locking the door and.
But talking of, ready. So we arrived on Sunday. Apparently somewhere here, although I don't know this, but it says there are walks off site. So there is a nice walk, it is a nice walk when you get into it.
You've got to cross a busy road though, haven't you?
Basically, you have to come out of the site and then walk up the side of a busy road. That's only 30 or 40 yards up there, and then you cross over to the Holiday Inn, and then behind there's the Winchester Science Centre, and then behind that is the cemetery, and that's on Magdalen Hill. Because basically you're although we are up a bit here, you go down, then you go up again, but you're basically walking uphill all the way to the top of Magdalen Hill, nice and gentle. It's a good walk.
Steep hill.
And the good thing is, of course, you're then walking back all the way downhill all the way.
It's about a mile till you get up to the beginning of what I would call Magdalen Hill, which is the far side of the cemetery. From there, you can probably walk another mile, can't you?
Oh yeah,
You can walk into Winchester through there, I believe.
But that was a nice walk, wasn't it?
Very nice.
That'll be something that Dizzy only just made it, to be fair.
Yeah, but it was downhill all the way back.
Yeah.
But once you get up there onto Magdalen Hill, which is a nature reserve, there are some information boards about the old Morn Hill camp, which I always assumed was more here, but it's not. It's over there. But it was quite a huge deployment camp, wasn't it?
Those
for troops.
boards will appear while we're talking.
Ah, marvellous.
By the magic of video editing.
Yeah, there were some lovely old photos, and it was huge, the camp.
Yeah.
Down both sides of the valley.
I got confused because I thought that it must have been here because this is called Morn Hill, but actually it isn't. It's a mile away that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was nice. That's something on a nice day. That would be a really pleasant walk once you get off the road, on the main road.
And you can see for miles from up there. See as far as Berkshire, I reckon.
So we go back tomorrow. We're hoping now that Morn Hill is available to either squeeze in a couple of days in December just to see what it's like, because the gas heater wasn't working, and rather irritatingly, we've got the original manuals for the caravan here, and in the troubleshooting section for the gas, the Truma, no, it's not Ultra Store, is it? It might be Ultra Heat, Space Heater, anyway, whatever it is, in the troubleshooting section of that thing is not anything about the fact that the battery might have gone of the igniter. So I had to watch some videos, and then we had to take the front off, and I'm not entirely sure it's on properly again. But then of course it worked, and it's fantastic once it works. The only other thing is that the electric heating doesn't work, which is a job for the winter. So if we come back in the winter, we'll have to bring a heater with us.
Proper heater, yeah. Because we knew it was going to be mild this week, we didn't worry, did we? We have got our old tent electric fan heater, but you wouldn't want to leave that on all night.
And I don't want to leave the gas on all night either. That just doesn't feel right to me.
No, it doesn't.
We've got a carbon monoxide detector, obviously. But
yeah,
still.
no, I don't like having
But anyway, it's using gas all night.
But, you could easily run out of gas by doing that, couldn't you? But the reality is that if we come and it's a bit cooler, Dizzy's not going to like that, so we are going to need to heat her accommodation.
Yeah, just to a minimum level. But you drove again, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's fine. It's becoming routine for Peter to drive.
Yep. It's just not an issue, is it?
No, it doesn't bother either of us, but, Peter seems to enjoy it, so I'm quite happy to leave it to her.
And I particularly enjoyed a drive through pitch.
Yeah.
That was nice. Because I would never normally choose a pitch that's in the middle. I would always go against a hedge. But because we knew it was going to rain, we didn't go on our favourite pitches up here, did we? Because they've got trees either by them or above them. We wanted to be away from trees. And then I thought I'll just go in this one. It's quite near the bathroom block and the water and bins and things. So, just drove through and then unhitched. That was quite nice. So when we leave, we'll just have to motor mover it to point it at the road. Yeah. And then hitch up. That's okay, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so it'll probably be more of a problem to get it back in its place in the storage unit because that will be wet.
Wet, and the grass hasn't been cut since August, I don't think.
So finally, it's time to give our ratings for the new Morn Hill. Is there anything else we wish to point out about the new Morn Hill?
No, only how lovely the Scottish ladies are.
The facilities block down the bottom there is substantially bigger than the one up here, and they've got laundry, haven't they? Both of them.
Yeah, both got laundry. And I do like the inclusive bathroom. I think that's really lovely that they've done that.
Absolutely. The only thing that's going to stop us coming is the expense of it. I mean, when we wanted to come, would have been in the week around Christmas, but rather aggravatingly, I don't mind that much there being a slight premium to school holidays, although actually I do mind it.
In December you wouldn't expect it,
in fact, so if we look at this week is $31.60 for this per night for two of us. Next week it'll be £24 something. In the week, so that £24 something lasts up until about the 17th of December.
Just when school breaks up.
When it becomes £38.80 for two of us.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just not going to pay it. I'm sorry. That's just ridiculous. I wouldn't have minded quite so much if it had gone up just for the Christmas week.
No, it's
but to do it for the whole of the week ahead of it as well is. But anyway, so what we'll do probably is we'll either come up in the early part of December, but we've got things to do at home, or we'll come up in January. So that's irritating to me. I'm afraid it does really hack me off. That we have to get. The reason we now have to go during school holidays is not because we have a child of school age.
We have me at school.
Yeah.
And because we've got that full week before Christmas off school, I thought, oh, well, that's perfect. We can go away for a few days then. But I don't think we'll be able to swallow that price hike.
So let's do our review, shall we?
Okay, go on then.
So these are out of 5.
Mhm.
The first, and bearing in mind these are all from our perspective. They're not objective at all. So for example, number 1 is location. Well, to us, or to me, that's a 5 because it's 15 minutes from our storage unit.
Yeah.
Now, it is pretty convenient if you come down the M3. It's about as easy to get to as you can imagine. So you may basically just come off the M3.
Perfect for ferry pitches. We often wondered why they didn't have ferry pitches here now,
They
but
do
we
now.
have seen a couple of vans on them.
So are you giving it 5 for location?
Yeah, 5. It's close enough to home to not worry when George texts and
Yeah,
says...
we were going to go to Rooksbury, weren't we? We originally
We
planned
were.
to go to Rooksbury, but when the weather
Yeah.
turned foul, I just felt I'd rather be somewhere that requires the minimal tow.
And also part of the draw of going to Rooksbury is the dog field, and we
that
thought
wouldn't
if
be
it's
usable.
wet, we're not going to have the enjoyment of that. Oh, and also because Rooksbury shuts soon, we were going to
Yeah,
go
we
there
wanted to get
because
one
it
more
shuts soon, and then come here in the winter. But actually, I'm glad because it's been a good comparison from September to now to see
it's worked out really well.
how much the site has changed since it reopened.
Facilities. So I am going to give it. I'd love to give it a 5,
Well, they've been lovely,
but
beautifully
the lack
done.
of toilets
Mm.
is going to take 1 star away, and that's being generous. Because to me, if you don't have enough toilets, it's almost not fit for purpose, is it?
No, and the little cubicles where you can just wash and brush your teeth seems a bit unnecessary, because I think people who are just going to wash and brush their teeth do that in their vans.
Yeah.
To be honest, it might be useful for campers, but
then you don't need.
you
so
don't
many.
need 4 of them.
Yeah.
It should have been 5
what's your
showers
number
and 2. I'm going to say 3.5 because I'm just gutted that I couldn't use that power shower this week.
Staff. So we're going to talk only about the staff we have met this trip, so not previously at all.
Mhm.
Okay. Make of that what you will.
And they're lovely.
And so we've met 3 ladies.
Yes, can't remember the other lady's name, but the lady
Doesn't
who
matter, does
isn't Scottish tried very hard to get us onto a hard standing because, as I say, we booked grass because that was all that was available. We thought there's no harm in asking when we get here because they may have had a cancellation and we could go on a hard standing. And she tried really hard to get us on one, but she couldn't. So thank you for trying.
They're all top draw, all of them. And I know that's luck, really, what you get. Although in general, we found most wardens to be brilliant.
Yeah, because of the
wherever
wardens
we've gone.
that used to be here.
Yeah.
There was that lovely chap who was always really chatty
and
with
the people
George
at
about
Rooksbury.
guitars. People at Rooksbury are all lovely.
As I said, we've generally been very, very lucky.
Mm.
So I'm going to give them 5.
Yes.
Value for money. Well, I suppose if you take it in isolation, this has cost us for 3 nights the best part of 100 quid.
Yeah.
And I can't give it 5 out of 5 for that. I think we're treating ourselves, but bearing in mind that we're on grass here, so we could have gone somewhere else that had grass, which would have been cheaper, potentially.
Well, like Barracks Farm.
Yeah. That has its own drawbacks, obviously.
Mm.
Anyway, so I'm going to give it value for money 3.5. And
Four.
I'm not factoring into that the much worse value for money it would be if we were here at Christmas, which I think basically the best part of 40 quid is per night is a bit much when it was 20 something quid the week before.
Yeah.
Experience overall, well, I've enjoyed it. I've actually enjoyed this trip as much as any other. I enjoyed yesterday finding that route, that path to go on, and it's nice to know that we have, if we fancy stretching our legs, there's a good, for us at least, a 2.5 mile round trip is enough.
Yeah.
And it's certainly enough for one of our dogs, if not for the other.
Yeah.
And then you could just supplement it with some nice walks around the 2 parts of the site. So I'm going to give that a 4.5.
Yeah, 4.5.
And the extra, the 0.5 is actually for the experience of having to deal with a canopy awning blowing off while we were here.
My name was mud on Sunday, wasn't it? When we got here, because you didn't want to come, and I told you at the last minute if we didn't come, I was going to go by myself.
Yeah. Listen, If I didn't want to come, I wouldn't have come.
You wouldn't have come.
I came because I wanted to come.
I would have come, but I wouldn't
Once
have had
we'd
gas because
arrived-
I don't know how to put the gas on.
I didn't want to be here
Or water, actually.
because it hammered down for all 12 hours, basically, pretty much. So no, I didn't want to be here then, but I'd seen that the weather was going to improve, so I was prepared to put up with it.
Yeah, and Kev sat out in the sun yesterday morning for a couple of hours. That was very
And then I
nice.
took the canopy down because that started blowing again.
Mm.
Overall, I'm going to give it a 4, I think.
You said 4.5.
No, that's the experience.
Oh, what are we doing now?
Have you done experience?
Yeah,
What did you give it for experience?
4 probably.
4. Overall,
Oh, overall,
for the
4.5.
that's just saying about the holiday as a whole.
Mhm.
It's a 4.5 holiday, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's probably enough, isn't it?
Mm.
I think it's fair to say that with things as they are, we will be looking carefully next year. It is quite possible that we will not be, when we plan our major holiday for next year, which will be in August, it's quite possible we won't use any club sites. That we'll be going affiliated because, not affiliated, CLs, and maybe affiliated. Because we had such a nice time at Fox Hill Farm.
Mm.
And we know there's another one down the road there,
Hillside.
The Hillside Farm.
Yeah.
That's nice.
They're
But we were
fully
talking about
serviced
going
pitches as well, aren't they?
somewhere nearer Lymington. I think I'd like to go next time.
Mm.
And we are definitely gonna get things ship shape. We've got solar panels. We have not had a chance to test them. Next year, I want to do some real hardcore off grid.
And you won't moan that there aren't any toilets, because there
No.
won't be any toilets.
I mean, if you're paying like 15 quid a night
yeah.
or whatever, or a tenner a night,
You
then
don't care.
I don't care so much.
Mm.
But anyway, so that's it from us, isn't it? This may be our last trip of the year, but it may not.
We'll
may
see.
sneak
If we
one
get a
in.
beautiful December
Yeah.
weekend, we might just down tools.
The
and
beauty of it is that we're
come
now
away.
set up to really go away more at a drop of a hat, because apart from anything else, it's just the two of us.
Mm.
So we don't need to bring so much.
Mm.
So thanks for watching.
Mm-hmm.
Give us some comments if you've been to Bourne
Oh yeah, we'd love to know what you think.
You know, at any point in the future watching this video, just let us know what you think. Whether you share our
Especially if you've
generally
been
favourable impressions.
before and after. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I know Dan Trudgeon was here, wasn't he?
What, since it reopened?
No, he was
Oh,
here
before, yeah. And
shortly before.
yeah, but yeah.
So, from Peter.
And Kev,
I don't know my own name.
it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from him. What did they used to do, the two Ronnies?
So from Kev,
And Peter.
include us in a caravan.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye.